have returned, and I have a special guest with me. Hello, Terry. Welcome back to my videos.
Thanks, Gogan. Yeah, last time we revealed we were reviewing the coolest terrible movie ever made.
Yeah, it's been a while since Terry's been in one of my videos. I'm assuming he had to recover after I beat him with a baseball bat.
It hurt. It really hurt.
Yeah, but don't worry, we're pals.
Yeah. Yep. For life.
Alright, so, as we all know, the Academy Award nominees are going to be announced this upcoming Tuesday. So within 6 days, we are going to find out what the Academy is going to nominate for their awards this year, which, you know, the Academy, I question the validity of their opinions a lot of the time, but nevertheless, it is something I do care about because the Academy obviously carries a lot of prestige, a lot of weight, and a lot of significance, and them saying that something is the best does, you know, dictate the way movies will be made in the future. So, are you looking forward to the Academy Awards?
Absolutely. I always look forward to them every year.
Yep. And maybe this year I'll actually beat you, unlike last year, and you'll have to watch a terrible movie of my choosing.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Makes me nervous. I actually only beat you by one point. Yeah, I got Best Leading Actor right.
Yeah.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yep.
Of course, we both got Best Picture wrong, but we worked right for about a minute.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And you even told me, oh, I regret not adding Moonlight as my choice.
I should have picked Moonlight.
Yeah.
Should have picked Moonlight.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
But anyway, the reason we are here today is because sort of an idea I got after watching Screen Junkies show about a year ago. On Dan's Labyrinth, Dan Murrell and his host JTE, they looked at a brief history of the Best Director Academy Award and went through year by year to choose who they would have selected as the Best Director winner for those individual years. Some cases they agreed with the Academy's picks, other cases they did not. And it got me thinking, you know, what would be my picks for that? And for that matter, what would Terry's picks be? Yeah. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to look at a short little history of the Academy Awards, starting from movies of the year 2000 to the present day, and just go through the Best Director category and choose who we would have selected as Best Director, whether it be who the Academy chose or just one of the other nominees who we thought were, you know, lost undeservedly. Yep. So, yeah, ready to do this?
Yep.
Yep. And for the record, Terry and I have no idea what our picks for each one of these years is going to be. So, we'll see if we agree or disagree on things.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see how we're going to go on this.
Yep, a little suspense.
Alright, so kicking off the 21st century, the year 2000, the award show that happened in 2001. The winner this year, it was actually really interesting how this one turned out. The winner was Steven Soderbergh for Traffic, but by winning this, Steven Soderbergh actually defeated himself. Yeah. It's a very rare instance in Oscar history where a director was nominated for 2 movies in the Best Director category. It happened once before. I blanking off the top of my head when it happened and who it was and what the movies were. But it was really long time before this happened. So it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Steven Soderbergh, of course, won this year for Traffic, but other nominees were Ang Lee for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Ridley Scott for Gladiator, Stephen Daldry for Billy Elliot, and Steven Soderbergh once again for Aaron Brockovich. All right, Terry, let's see who we would have picked. Okay, yep, that's what I was thinking. So, yeah, I would have stuck with Steven Soderbergh on this one. I feel Soderbergh definitely deserved it. Anyone who knows me will know Traffic is certainly one of my favorite modern day movies of the century. I also feel it was the most meaningful and prolific film of that year. The way Soderbergh is able to intersect these different stories, these different characters from very different parts of the world, from the high class, the middle class, and the slums of Mexico, the way he interweaves all of them and shows the connection they all have because of, you know, the war on drugs and because of addictions to drugs. Like, it starts out with drugs down drug cartels in Mexico, then works its way through people who buy them and abuse their drug addictions. And yeah, I think the way he correlates all that is brilliant. It had a lot of great things to say for anyone who maybe have addictions or anything of that nature. Yeah, I thought Traffic was a outstanding film. It was definitely one of my favorite films that year.
Yeah.
But you would have gone with Ridley Scott for Gladiator.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's the way I say it. I mean, I've only seen bits of pieces of Traffic, and I intend to when I get the chance to see the whole thing. So the thing is, that from my perspective, what I see is I'm pretty sure it's a great movie from what you're talking about too, and it does appear like a good movie. And I do like Steven Soderbergh, and one of the films he's made, Sex, Lies, and Videotape, is actually one of actually probably my favorite Soderbergh I've ever seen, in my opinion.
That's a great movie.
So, and I haven't seen Aaron Malkovich either, and I haven't seen Billy Elliot. I did see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
That's a great film.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
If I were to do a runners-up, that would have been my number 2 pick.
Yeah, so yeah, the ones I haven't seen, I mean, it's a little hard for me to judge, whether, I would have gone for them or not or something. I'm pretty sure his style is good. The reason why I went for, Ridley Scott for Gladiator is because Gladiator, the things they did for that film, and I'm a big fan of historical epics, and this is the type of historical epic that came out, especially in the early year of the 21st century, where, I mean, it was almost kind of a dying genre where it actually kind of brought it back together. And Ridley Scott being, the production design he has in his films and visually of how the way he creates worlds and science fiction and period pieces, he's good with that too. I think this was a big, huge landmark achievement for him in his directing and what he did for Gladiator. So I just think, it's just, it's really in general, it's just such a darn good movie, and I just kind of figured I just have to go with Ridley Scott on this and stuff. The accomplishment of the genre and just the world building and the direction he went into this, I was just like, totally Ridley Scott and totally something amazing at the time.
Yeah, the thing about Gladiator and, eventually, I mean, you saw my 10 favorite films in 2000. I posted that as a list on Facebook. I will turn that into a video eventually, I promise. But the thing about Gladiator, it didn't make my top 10 list, and I don't hate the movie, but Gladiator just always seemed like a very, I don't want to say typical, but more along the lines of, I've seen this before, and it just doesn't have the same level of depth or character or drama or complexity to it that various other films have. It's the Moses story. It's the Ben-Hur story. It's the general who's been betrayed and then has to fight his way back up to prominence. Right? I've seen it before, and I've seen it better, to be frank. And yes, it does have a good visual style for the most part. But there's also moments of that film I think are very kind of drab looking. Not to me, visually speaking, I don't think the film holds up as well as some people might think it does. But it's a fair movie. I get why you would have picked that. I feel like Soderbergh, again, we're talking visual streams. I mean, go watch Traffic and like the way he uses color, the way he tints different scenarios for everybody. Like there's shades of blue for one storyline, and then shades of yellow for another storyline. Things of that nature. I think that it's a visually striking film as well. And I just would have stuck with Soderbergh on that one. Ridley Scott, I wouldn't have minded if he had won a Best Director at some point. I just don't think it would have been for Gladiator. And actually, we'll talk about another one right now that I actually would have considered Ridley Scott for. Moving on to 2001. So, 2001, the winner this year was Ron Howard for A Beautiful Mind. But other nominees this year were David Lynch for Mulholland Drive, Peter Jackson for The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Ridley Scott, once again, for Black Hawk Down, and Robert Altman for Gosford Park. Alright, who would we have picked? Oh, wow, okay. Alright, yeah. So I would, despite what I just said about Ridley Scott for Black Hawk Down, I do really like Black Hawk Down, by the way. That probably would have been my number 2 pick on this one. But no, I would have gone with David Lynch for Mulholland Drive. And I'm actually really surprised. I totally thought you would have gone with Peter Jackson.
Oh, really?
I totally thought you were going to go with Peter Jackson, but you're going with Ron Howard.
Well, well, here's the thing. I almost did. I actually almost came close to doing so. And he would have been my second choice, I would say. Or he probably is. But here's the thing. I mean, I like both. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, first one especially. But I've also seen A Beautiful Mind, and I've seen that movie more than once too. And it's actually one of the movies that it's that I really like at a very personal level. It's the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, this. I see a little bit of me, and I was in college too. Yeah, there was a little bit of me, except I never had schizophrenia or anything. But he had he was very smart, but he was also very socially awkward around people, and that's a little bit of me I find in myself. And I think the reason why I chose Ron Howard is just because I think a director like that to give direction for Russell Crowe in a performance like that, and then his stylistic choice, in the way the movie's put together, story-wise, the direction he wanted to go with the story and with the character, I just think is just, really interesting, very unique to me, and it's a film that I would, if I was to make my own personal favorite films list, Beautiful Mind would be one of them, and I just think, what Ron Howard did as, as what the direction he wanted to go into, especially, it was quite an achievement for him because he was known mostly in acting from television, Happy Days and stuff, and at the same time he made Apollo 13. I really like that, and I just think it was for me, it was a right time, especially when it was something different for him too. He's pretty. It's pretty interesting of what different subjects and what different genres that he goes for, choosing a biopic like this. I just think it was a good right time for him to receive Best Director. So.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Howard probably would have been my third pick for Best Director that year. I mean, I really like A Beautiful Mind. Yeah, I think I've mentioned before I'm not the biggest fan of Russell Crowe as an actor, but I think Ron Howard really does bring out one of his better performances to me. The way, and not just Russell Crowe either, the way he's able to bring, that warm, touching, like, true love out of Jennifer Connelly, the way he interweaves like John Nash's schizophrenia with Cold War paranoia. It's a great film on both a character level and a time period level. But I still would have gone with David Lynch. And have you ever seen Mulholland Drive?
No, I plan to, and I saw it's on Netflix. It's listed as one of the films I need to see. I mean, because I didn't see it, I couldn't go with Judge or go with them and stuff. I haven't seen. Well, I did see Black Hawk Down, and I like that. Ridley Scott probably would have been my third choice. I haven't seen the one with Robert
Gosford Park. That's another great film. And come to think of it, maybe Gosford Park would have been my number 3 pick. But they're actually a really good list of nominees this year. But I would have chosen Mulholland Drive because. For one thing, anyone who knows me will know Mulholland Drive is definitely one of my favorite films. I did in fact, pick that as my number 1 movie of 2001. Spoiler for the video I'll get out in the future. But, Mulholland Drive, sort of like what I said about Steven Soderbergh with Traffic, to be able to execute a film like Mulholland Drive, the way David Lynch does it, the style he encompasses with his films, it is the hardest thing to do, to like interweave this structure of dreams, of nightmares, of fantasies, of realities, and like to be able to combine all that and make it work to the effect that he makes it work in this film is just outstanding to me. It's one of the most provocative, most hauntingly beautiful movies that I've ever seen. Mulholland Drive, to me, is one of the defining masterpieces of the modern generation. On a personal note, I think it's kind of a crime David Lynch has never won an Academy Award.
He's only made 10 films in his career too, and he's kind of not really doing anything either. So I will admit it is kind of a shame he hasn't won even one. It probably would have helped if he made more films, but still, it's kind of sad.
I've heard he's gonna be returning to the film world sometime in the near future. When that happens, I don't know, or even if that's even true. But if that's true, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next year of 2002. The winner this year was Roman Polanski for The Pianist. Now, he actually was not present at the award show to receive the award because he's fled the United States ever since 1978.
Because he's wanted in the country.
Yeah, for reasons.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that. But other nominees that year were Martin Scorsese for The Gangs of New York, Pedro Almodovar for Talk to Her, Rob Marshall for Chicago, and Stephen Daldry for The Hours. Let's see who we would have picked. Wow, we finally have an agreement. All right, yeah, we both agree with the Academy on this one. We would have gone with Roman Polanski. Yeah. Now, the funny thing about this is that if another spoiler for a 2002 list I will make, although I might make updates to my list. But I actually did not put The Pianist in my top 10 for 2002. Yeah. But I still would have chosen Roman Polanski for this one. My second runner-up, for anyone who may be wondering, would have been Pedro Almodovar for Talk to Her, which is a fantastic movie if you've never seen it. But I would have chosen Roman Polanski because he put such a personal touch on that film. It's deeply rooted for him because, for anyone who may not know, Roman Polanski's mother actually died in the gas chambers in the Holocaust. Yeah. And so this was a very touching film. It was a very personal film. This is something that was very cathartic for him to do. And I think it really shined through in everything he did with this film.
Yeah, I agree. I sort of did a 2002 list, but I plan to do an update on it. But one way or another, I wouldn't put The Pianist on there, even though I do respect the film. I do like it. I would at least put it as my honorable mentions, but I would agree that I would have chosen him as best director because, for the same reasons that you talked about, what you described, and just really in general, I just think, it's not a movie I would watch all the time, but even when I watched it, it is a well-directed film. I would say what my second choice would have been probably would have been Stephen Daldry for The Hours. I thought that was a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, and Martin Scorsese might have been my third choice. He definitely would have been my first choice because I think there were a lot of other movies before after he would be better. Even though I love the movie Gangs of New York, my least choice out of all of it, I almost don't think this should have been nominated at all, was Rob Marshall for Chicago. I've seen Chicago.
Yeah, I've seen Chicago.
And it's like I was even nominated for this because it has such a lack of character depth and stuff.
That won Best Picture too. God, I can't get over that.
That is one of the worst choices the Academy made.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list. If it were up to me, I would take out Rob Marshall. I would even, personally, I would take out Stephen Daldry for The Hours. I would have I would have loved to see Spike Lee get a nomination for 25th Hour, which is one of my favorite films of the decade by far. I also would have loved to see, I totally just blinked on his name, Spike Jonze for Adaptation, which you might disagree with me on that one, but I love that film. Anyone who knows me will know I love Adaptation. There were certainly a lot of viable contenders that year, but of the nominees, I agree with Roman Polanski, and he's also one of those veteran directors that had never gotten the award. Not that should be a deciding factor in winning an award, my opinion. But it is great to see that he at least won it for and deservedly so. Yeah. So, we both agree on that one, and we both agree with the Academy.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to 2003. This year, Peter Jackson won for The Return of the King, which is a huge victory, not just for Peter Jackson, but really for, I would argue, the movie industry as a whole, because it was a very rare instance of a specific genre film like Lord of the Rings being such a big award winner for the Academy, which they hardly ever nominated, let alone win something.
Yeah, a fantasy, because they don't usually recognize fantasy.
Peter Jackson won for direction that year. It was one of the 11 awards that swept up that night. But other nominees that people may have forgotten of are Clint Eastwood for Mystic River, Fernando Merrier for City of God, Peter Weir for Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World, and Sofia Coppola for Lost in Translation. Let's see who we would pick. Yep, that's what I thought we were gonna go. Now, I to be fair, I actually was tempted to stick with Peter Jackson because, like I said, that was a significant victory, and as much as I'm not a big fan of Lord of the Rings, it is a very cool thing to see a film like that be such a big winner. But at the same time, I'd be lying if I said that was my favorite film. And honestly, I actually thought, like, if I were to give Peter Jackson a Best Directing Oscar for a Lord of the Rings movie, I actually would have gone with Fellowship or Two Towers. Return of the King, in my opinion, is actually the most flawed of the three. But I would have gone with Fernando Merrier for City of God. Again, it's a gripping story. It's a personal story. It's a important story. It really brought about a lot of truths and a lot of significance in its country, and showcases like an entire history of some key players in the biggest crime-ridden city in the world, the City of God. And I think Fernando Merrier, the way he can actually take such grotesquely awful imagery to see in that film and make it as watchable and as enthralling as he does, it is a great talent. It shows so much ability, and I do think that he would have deserved it. I also would have been tempted to give it to Peter Weir for the main reason, like the thing I debate with myself about City of God here is that that's not a 2003 movie, it's a 2002 movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if it should have been nominated that year.
Yeah.
But considering that it was nominated this year, I would have given it to him personally.
Yeah. Actually, Peter Weir would have been my second choice as well. I really liked Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. I think of it as a very, very realistic action-adventure historical epic. Kind of a film that I think is quite an achievement.
That movie brings back memories of like David Lane epics.
Oh yeah. I have not seen City of God, so I can't really judge. That's why I didn't pick it. I also like Clint Eastwood and for Mystic River and Sofia Coppola for Lost in Translation.
Yeah, honestly, all five nominees were great.
They were pretty much good. I think it's one of those years that it's pretty hard to choose which one, because both of them, a lot of the movies were pretty darn good. I mean, I still would have chosen Peter Jackson because I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and the direction he went in something, like new within the fantasy genre that was just like, wow. And I saw it in the theater back in 2003.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater too back in 2003.
Oh yeah.
Not a whole lot I would take out, although one person I would definitely love to mention for a Best Director nomination I feel was snubbed that year would have been Patty Jenkins for Monster, who she recently directed Wonder Woman, and it was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Lord of the Rings, again, it's a significant victory. I don't have a problem with the fact that it won all the awards. I'll explain my opinions on Lord of the Rings some other day. I
want to see your review on them and stuff.
Yeah, I'll save that for another video.
Absolutely. I'd like to see that.
But moving on here to 2004. Now, Clint Eastwood won this year in 2004 for his direction of $1 Million Baby. It was his second Best Director win after Unforgiven back in 1992. But other nominees that year were Alexander Payne for Sideways, Martin Scorsese for The Aviator, Mike Leigh for Vera Drake, and Taylor Hackford for Ray. All right, let's see who we would pick. All right, good. Good. We both agree on this one. Clint Eastwood. For me, there wasn't a whole lot of competition with this one, to be honest. It's one of the more predictable categories on this list, in my opinion, because I look at the other nominees, and not to say that these are bad movies, because I love Sideways. I think The Aviator is really good. I think Vera Drake is really good. I think Ray is great. But it just none of them really had that kind of pull, that kind of power that I thought Clint Eastwood had with $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I think I've mentioned Clint Eastwood's not one of my favorite directors, but I love $1 Million Baby. That is one of my favorite films of that year, and yeah, just a damn great film. I mean, it's a film that really defied a lot of expectations for me because I didn't see it when it came out, but I heard about it. And I looked at the premise, and I thought going in it was really just going to be a female Rocky movie. That's all the gist of it was going to be. I didn't understand what that film was really going to be about, but watching it, it sidesteps expectations.
Oh, yeah.
It goes its own unique direction. It has some things to say about lower society and, you know, gender roles and things of that nature. But more than that, for me, I do think it was the emotional film of that year. And that, I agree with you, Cammy, on that one. Clint Eastwood deserved it.
Yeah, there's not much for me to say. You pretty much said everything that I agree, where I'm like, yeah, I do agree. Although I do like the movie. I like Unforgiven a little bit. That was the first time he won Best Director, which I thought was a good choice for it. Unforgiven is one of my favorite films ever. And I've seen Ray. I've seen The Aviator. I've not seen Sideways or Vera Drake. Yeah, I haven't seen those, so I couldn't judge. And I like The Aviator as well. That probably would have been my second choice. But like I said, I'm kind of thinking. I think there are a lot of other films that Scorsese made that that he deserved, but like that one, not really among them and stuff.
Definitely. And looking at the nominees, I would have taken out. Honestly, I would have taken out Scorsese and Mike Leigh for Vera Drake. I would have put in Michel Gondry for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And another one, I would have chosen Mysterious Skin, which was definitely one of my favorites of that year. Yeah. I would have loved to see that get a nomination. But then again, that was a really explicit movie. I don't know if the Academy likes films like that. Alright, moving right along to 2005. This was another significant Best Director victory here. Ang Lee won for Brokeback Mountain. In doing so, he's the first Asian to ever win the Best Director award. Great accomplishment. But other nominees that year were Bennett Miller for Capote, George Clooney for Good Night and Good Luck, Paul Haggis for Crash, and Steven Spielberg for Munich. Alright, let's see who we would have picked. And I can tell you, I'm not picking Crash.
I already know that. I'm still struggling in this one, actually. So
I'm tempted to see. Okay. Alright. So you would have stuck with Ang Lee on this one?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've only seen bits and pieces of the film, and it's not really one of my favorite films, but I do think, directors like that, especially like Ang Lee, making the bold moves he had to make, especially at the time, I just think is very, interesting and deserving as it is. I almost didn't know whether I want to go with that or Capote or Good Night and Good Luck. Yeah. Because I thought George Clooney and Benedict Miller, did a good job in their directing for those films as well.
Munich. Munich was a great one too.
Oh yeah, Munich, Steven Spielberg as well. And here's what's funny. Ang Lee and Steven Spielberg were both nominated for the same year in 2012, which we'll get to later on, which I thought was really funny. So it's just kind of funny that way. So I don't know. I was just kind of thinking, I think there's something more revolutionary at Brokeback Mountain than Ang Lee did, where I kind of thought, I think he deserved it.
This was a real coin flip for me. I was going back and forth between Ang Lee and George Clooney. I settled with George Clooney because, we'll talk about Ang Lee again in another year here. But George Clooney, what he does with Good Night and Good Luck, which I think is just a beautiful movie, and the way he just resurrects this just older time period, and the way he can enthrall you and captivate you with just words. And I think that's a real lost art that a lot of movies do not do enough of. Just really finding like the lyricism, the meaning, the significance behind conversation and talk and
Yeah.
the way we speak to people.
Yeah.
Both on a literal sense with dialogue that's in the film and in a metaphorical sense, the way, Edward R. Murrow spoke to the world through his radio show. And another thing that's really amazing about that is that the majority of that film, actually, I think almost every scene in that movie, it all takes place within just this radio studio. Like you don't get like any landscape shots or outside shots or anything like that. So I think what George Clooney does with his minimalist strategies in that film, the black and white just adds so much greatness to that movie. I adore that film. Again, it was a tough call because Ang Lee winning for Brokeback Mountain, not just for the historical significance of a Asian director, but also for what that film means, what it was about, how it was very prominent of its time period. I was very tempted to go with Ang Lee on that one, but I just give the slight edge to George Clooney.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way with you. It was kind of a coin toss for me, so I totally get you. I mean, I would imagine myself, I don't know, I would probably change my answer. It would have been, I don't know. But put it this way, I do agree with one category that shouldn't be on here at all is Paul Haggis for Crash. That one should not have been taken on there at all. And here's, I can imagine if it did win, you'd probably be like, I would have given the Academy so much hell if it won.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I add to the jokes, Crash, but it's not like it's the worst movie ever. It's just when you take a film that's clearly not the best film of the year and you slap Best Picture on it, it does get under my skin a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't dislike the film necessarily, but to be honest, truth, I wouldn't have picked either Crash or Brokeback Mountain for Best Picture of either which. I probably would have chosen, either probably Good Night or Good Luck or Capote or something. Probably one of those. I don't know. That's just well.
Although, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, George Clooney did win Best Supporting Actor that night for Syriana. So I don't know. Maybe,
it probably would have been
too bounces out, I guess.
I guess I can imagine that.
Well, anyway, moving on to 2006. This was another very significant win because Martin Scorsese finally wins the Best Director Academy Award. Oh my God, that was long overdue.
Oh yeah.
But there were other great nominees that year. We had Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, who we'll talk about again later. He was nominated that year for Babel, Clint Eastwood for Letters from Iwo Jima, Paul Greengrass for United 93, and Stephen Frears for The Queen. Let's see who we would have gone with. All right. Yep, that's what I thought. So, again, that's another one. I was tempted to go with Scorsese, but my argument against that is, well, maybe he should have been a 2 or 3-time Best Director winner by that point anyway. I would make very strong arguments for Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and Goodfellas.
I think Goodfellas should have been his directing win, actually.
Yeah, I agree 100% on that. Yeah. There was not a better film that year than Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not even close. But, I don't... with that being said, I mean... I want Martin Scorsese to have a Best Director Academy Award under his belt, so I don't have a problem with the fact that he won. It doesn't hurt me. But however, for pure talent, for quality of a film, I would have gone with Inarritu for Babel. Inarritu is definitely one of my favorite modern filmmakers, and Babel might be my favorite film of his, and I actually showed that to you. I remember that.
It was a good movie,
and it's a phenomenal film. I've often said it's like a modern day biblical story that was invented for the like contemporary age. The way Inarritu, and again, I love non-linear storytelling. I love multiple timeline and multiple scenario storytelling. And it's done in this film in such a just thematic and brilliant way. And the way Inarritu can transition to so many different parts of the world, so many different cultures, tell this incredible story of chance, fate, coincidence, and frankly just bad luck. And the way he interweaves different cultures, different people, different experiences, and so much humanity in all of it. And the way he executes it on both a thematic level, a story level, and a technical level, the way he blamelessly seamlessly transitions through editing and composition. Everything in that film is just, it's one of my favorite modern films of all time. But yeah, I was tempted to go with Scorsese for The Departed. You could,
yeah, not much to say. I love the film, and I think what's interesting for The Departed, I think it's the only film where one of his few films where he doesn't break the fourth wall, nor does it really explores much of his like common themes he would explore in his films. Really, I think it's one of his few that doesn't take place in New York. It takes place in Boston. So I just think I think the things he did in this direction
like really helped define like Boston crime movies.
Yes. So I just think it was just something slightly a little new. I mean, his editing and visual style is still the same, of course. Very Scorsese-ish, but I just think it was something a little different from what he's done from crime dramas and stuff.
That being said, I mean, like if I were to rank my favorite Martin Scorsese films, I mean, I think Raging Bull, I think Goodfellas, I think Taxi Driver,
those are all really good movies.
Last Temptation of Christ is one that comes to mind. I love The Last Waltz. I love Casino. I love Bringing Out the Dead. I mean, these are some films I definitely love, and I actually like them more than The Departed. The Departed, it's up there. It's not one of my top favorites of his, though. It's kind of why I don't quite gravitate towards him in this category. But it was a good movie. I just think Inarritu deserved it more. All right, moving on to 2007. Oh my God,
this is such a hard one.
You want to talk about a hard one.
One thing to mention, this was the year I first started watching the Oscars, actually, like the first time. And even back then, even though I didn't know much about that, but then as I started thinking more, even back then, I probably would have, gone for these two, one of the categories I have in mind.
Well, let's get to the winner of the nominee.
I know.
In 2007, the best director was won by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan, for their direction of No Country for Old Men. But other nominees that year were Jason Reitman for Juno, Julian Schnabel for The Diamond Bell and the Butterfly, Paul Thomas Anderson for There Will Be Blood, and Tony Gilroy for Michael Clayton. Let's see who we would have picked. All right. Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I was actually kind of expecting a split on this one. I thought you would have gone with There Will Be Blood, honestly. But
I almost did. Obviously. Well, I went for them just because No Country for Old Men was was something different that the Coen brothers did. Usually they make dark comedies, and there's some dark comedy elements in it, but it's not really it's not a dark comedy. It's more of a neo-western noirish thriller drama, and I just think this was a point, like Scorsese. I just think it was a point in their career where they should win an Oscar, maybe even sooner. They probably should have won for Fargo, for example. They definitely should. So I think it was a good point. And Paul Thomas Anderson, he probably would have been a good choice as well. I think unlike the Coen brothers, like, how should I explain it? His career wasn't really like big until the late '90s or something, or like not very many people, knew him that well. So I think, he wasn't quite ready or something. But then again, it would have been better if he did. It would have been a good surprise if he did, because There Will Be Blood is one of the best films of the century.
Oh, absolutely.
So what he did in that film was, fantastic.
Yeah, I make no bones about it. I think both There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men are far and away, like, if I were to rank the best films of the 21st century, those two would probably both be in the top 10, maybe even top 5. They are masterpieces of filmmaking. It's a coin flip. It's something where I almost don't even want to choose between those two, but if you really just had to twist my arm and force me to choose, I would have gone with the Coen brothers, because the way I would define it is that I feel There Will Be Blood is an amazing film, although I would make a slight argument. I think a lot of the quality on that really depends more on Daniel Day-Lewis, his performance, than it does the direction by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Could be.
Which is why Daniel Day-Lewis was Best Actor that year. Absolutely fucking lootly. I mean, if it had gone to anyone else, you would have heard me like throw my TV out
Again, you'd be like, I give the Academy so much hell.
Yeah, but as far as direction goes, I would have gone with No Country for Old Men of the Coen brothers, because No Country for Old Men to me is a film that encompasses everything I want out of a film. Like, it checks every box I want out of a movie. It's brilliantly acted, it's brilliantly directed, the writing is amazing. The way they shoot it, the way they light it, the staging, the composition, everything about that film is perfect, but it takes everything I want and actually defies expectations still. It goes above what I actually would want out of the movie. It's one of the best films I've ever seen. And
absolutely.
I love that won Best Director. But again, it was a coin flip.
Oh,
I almost kind of wish they would have split the awards that year, like give Best Picture to one and then Director to the other.
Maybe,
but,
yeah.
It was a tough call. It was a tough call.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go to a year that was not nearly as competitive. 2008. The winner of the year was Danny Boyle for Slumdog Millionaire. Other nominees were David Fincher for The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Gus Van Sant for Milk, Ron Howard for Frost Nixon, and Stephen Daldry again for The Reader. Let's see who we would have picked. It's kind of a no-brainer. I think, God, you want to talk about a year where the Academy was boring as hell. I mean, God, 2008 was such a blah year for the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And I really wish they wouldn't have played it so safely in 2008, because I've mentioned, and I know I've said this, 2008 is one of my favorite years in film history. I love that year. And a lot of people remember 2008's ceremony for the fact that The Dark Knight was not nominated for any of the major awards, except for supporting actor. But it's not just The Dark Knight. I would throw Synecdoche, New York up there. I would throw Let the Right One In up there. I would throw Shay up there, the Steven Soderbergh film. I would throw Shotgun Stories up there. I mean, there are literally so many films that they could have gone with that year, and I am shocked that they went with the selection that they did. Now, again, not to discredit Danny Boyle. Slumdog Millionaire, that is one of my favorite films of that year. And I chose him for the reason that, I mean, Danny Boyle has such a signature style and a signature way of making movies, and that signature is written all over that movie. He directs the crap out of that film and really makes it his own. And again, for a movie that really shouldn't have been as fun to watch, he makes that endlessly entertaining and fun as hell to watch. While never shying away from much bigger topics in that film. But yeah, for me, it was a clear-cut winner. Danny Boyle definitely needed that win.
Yeah, I agree. 2008 was one of my favorite years of film as well. In fact, that was also the first time I started watching more films outside Hollywood type of movies, where because it was a way to help me prepare for the Oscars, actually. So I was really studying. This is the first time I really started studying hard at what I wanted to see. Like, oh, what could win? What could that? And I can't remember. I think I might have chosen. I think even then I might have guessed that Danny Boyle might have won. I don't know. I can't remember if I chose Slumdog Millionaire as Best Picture or not, because I also like Curious Case of Benjamin Button. But I saw Slumdog Millionaire and I kind of thought that might end up in the category of directing.
Yeah, 2008 should have been a glorious year, but it was not.
Not
and
so much.
The backlash from that year is what subsequently led towards more Best Picture nominees.
Exactly.
Which happened the next year. Moving right along to 2009. This year was another very historic win. The Oscar went to Kathryn Bigelow for The Hurt Locker, and the first female to ever win Best Director. But other nominees that year were actually Kathryn Bigelow's ex-husband, James Cameron, for Avatar, Jason Reitman again for Up in the Air, Lee Daniels for Precious, and Quentin Tarantino for Inglourious Bastards. Let's see who we would have picked. Oh, okay. All right, cool. We both agreed on Kathryn Bigelow. Yeah, I would not take that one away because, again, it's a historic win, but that's not the only reason. I think the way Kathryn Bigelow depicts war, the way she depicts the aftermath of war, and really just the psychological drama of that film, I think I would argue that's probably Jeremy Renner's best performance, although I really like Wind River, which I just saw recently. But really, I think Kathryn Bigelow just really found her craft, found her niche, found everything she needed to make that film just a modern masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it is a great film. Now, as far as favorite films that year, that my favorite actually would have been Inglourious Basterds. I would have been very tempted to give it to Tarantino, but again, kind of like what I said with Scorsese, should have won for Pulp Fiction. My opinion.
Yeah.
But Kathryn Bigelow for The Hurt Locker, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do not disagree with the Academy on that one.
I do agree that 2009 had a pretty historical, women best director and stuff, and I really liked Her Hurt Locker. I saw that in theaters. In fact, I saw it in theaters in Los Angeles with my dad, and we both really liked it. It was something really different. And it's one of those films you wouldn't think it was directed by a woman too and stuff, which I think is very interesting too. However, as a year in general, even though it had Revolution, I don't think it was that great of a year. So the whole idea of her winning Best Director, I even predicted she would win Best Director that year. So it was an obvious choice. The choices I would have not put for nominations, probably even her ex-husband James Cameron for Avatar. Avatar is not that great,
it's
even
not
though
that great of a movie.
Yeah,
go ahead, take all the technical awards for all I care. That's understandable.
Yeah.
But like Best Director, Best Picture, I don't know why I'm nominated for those. Up in the Air I really like, and Precious is it's a good movie too. And of course I love Inglourious Basterds. But I Kathryn Bigelow, I wouldn't have taken that away from her.
Yeah.
Moving on to 2010. This year, I will be shocked if you and I don't agree on this next one. 2010, the winner was Tom Hooper, which not only do I not agree with that winning Best Picture, like many people agree with me on that.
Oh, really?
But I personally don't think that's a very well-directed movie. But nevertheless, Tom Hooper won. The other nominees were Darren Aronofsky for Black Swan, David Fincher for The Social Network, David O. Russell for The Fighter. A lot of Davids. And
Darren, actually, but close to David.
Okay, pretty close. And the Coen Brothers for True Grit, a remake. Wow, that's interesting. Let's see who we would have picked. All right, that doesn't shock me at all. Yeah, I think the 2010 Academy Awards were very eye-opening in that I realized right then and there, I know who consists of the Academy members, because it was either going to be the really traditional type of film like The King's Speech or the more current and relevant film The Social Network.
Yeah.
We saw who they went with. They went with The King's Speech.
Yeah.
But
I remember when I saw that. I think Tom Hooper was a very unexpected choice. I mean, I don't remember. Yeah, exactly. I think it was David Fincher who won the Golden Globes for directing and stuff. So I don't know. I don't think Tom Hooper was an expected choice to win. Even for me, I actually wanted David Fincher to win Best Director back then. I still think so now.
Yeah,
what he did for Social Network is, again, it goes outside of what he did previously, where he usually makes thrillers about serial killers and stuff, or psychological. And there's still a little bit of psychological things in the story too. It deals with conflicts of friendship and stuff, and it doesn't end happily between the two either. Oh. So I just think what he did in his direction was just very different what he did in his career, and at the same time, it was just, I don't know.
It was a great film.
It's a great film in general.
Great dialogue, great acting he gets out of his cast, but also it touches up on technology, interconnectedness, socialism.
Social media.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
How do I say socialism?
It's close to that word. Social or something. Yeah.
But that was a great film. Yeah. It was a very relevant film for its time, and still today. I mean, social media and Facebook is just, oh my god. But it was disappointing to me that they went with The King's Speech. I get the King's Speech. I rag on it a lot, but it's not a bad movie. It's just, kind of like what I mentioned with these other films. I mean, where some of them were coin tosses. This is more like, I think one is clearly superior than the other. The fact that the least superior one got the victory just bugs me.
Yeah.
But again, I won't dwell on that too much. Moving on to 2011. 2011, that was actually the very first Academy Awards show that I watched in full.
Oh, wow.
I saw bits and pieces of earlier shows, but that was the first one I watched from beginning to end.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was the first. I don't know. I just didn't have free time in other years, man.
Yeah.
But 2011, it went to a very bizarre choice. It was Michael Hazanavicius. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. For The Artist, a French director, which is pretty cool that went to him. But other nominees that year were Alexander Payne for The Descendants, Martin Scorsese for Hugo, Terrence Malick for The Tree of Life, and Woody Allen for Midnight in Paris. Let's see who we would have picked. Okay, all right. So you would have stuck with Michael Hazanavicius.
Yeah, for The Artist, yeah. I don't know. I just think it's interesting that, especially on a type of filmmaking style that has been obviously, hasn't been done for a long time since the 20s, and to make a silent film and do something new and put in a contemporary time, I just think it's very interesting. And then the direction he went into with using silence, as for the story and the theme is just very interesting and captivating for me and so on.
Yeah, my thing with The Artist though is that I think remove the silent film aspect. That is generic, basic. Easy steps 1, 2, 3 as you could go with a movie. I don't think it's. Again, it is a silent film, so I mean, putting that in there. I mean, yes, that it does make it a very unique film, and I do like the movie. I have it in my collection, and there is some great filmmaking and acting that he brings out of it, all without words, which is a great accomplishment to do. And the way he implements sound, little bits by bits, is really good.
Yeah.
But for me, it was actually not a hard choice at all. I would clearly go on Terrence Malick for The Tree of Life, which, is a polarizing movie. I knew it wouldn't win back in the day because it's one of those films that, there's no consensus on The Tree of Life. It's a love it or hate it movie, but I'm in the group of people who loves it. I think a film of this nature, of this vast ambition, I would argue that might be the most ambitious movie probably in the last 20-something years. That is just an awe-inspiring movie. It's a religious experience. It's an examination of life, of creation, of religion, of God, of evolution, of childhood, adolescence. I mean, it takes on the broadest possible strokes possible, from just a small, simple childhood to the vastness of the universe. And to me, I would have given it to Terrence Malick hands down.
I saw it once, and I almost fell asleep watching that movie, to be honest. Truth. I'm sorry.
No,
I mean, I think Terrence Malick is a good director. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I personally don't think it's one of his best because, it does explore certain things, but it is one of those movies you have to watch more than once to kind of get it better and stuff. But it's something for me to watch all the time and stuff. It's just, for me, I wouldn't watch it. Maybe I would watch it the second or third time to develop better appreciation. But for me, I'm just it's kind of hard for me to get through it and stuff because I'm so used to traditional narrative and stuff. Yeah. But I do appreciate your choice of how you're going for it.
All right, moving on to 2012. 2012 was another interesting year because this is the year Argo won Best Picture, but Ben Affleck didn't even get a nomination for direction.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Yeah, you're calling it the Best Picture, but you're not giving credit to the guy who made it. Okay.
It was one of those rare Academy history where before that, I think there was only 2 or 3 that won Best Picture without even having a nomination for Best Director, and I think Driving Miss Daisy was one of them and stuff. So.
Oh, I didn't even remember that.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, the winner this year was Ang Lee for Life of Pi, his second Best Director win. But other nominations were Ben Zeitlin for The Beast of the Southern Wild, David Russell for Silver Linings Playbook, Michael Haneke I'm sorry, I know I'm mispronouncing things, for Amor, and Steven Spielberg for Lincoln. Let's see who we would pick.
I'm putting a right in.
Okay.
I put Ben Affleck. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I would have put down Steven. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Steven Spielberg. So,
yeah.
Honestly, even if Ben Affleck had been nominated, let's just, hypothetically say I take out David O. Russell for Silver Linings Playbook, put in Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I don't like Silver Linings Playbook at all.
We'll
talk. I'll talk about that one some other day.
Yeah.
But even if Ben Affleck had been nominated, I still would have gone with Ang Lee because, again. I talk about film being a visual medium more than like a character and story level medium.
Yeah.
Life of Pi, it's a simple film with many complexities, but oh my god, the technology he innovates with that film, the visual scope of that film is outstanding. It's a feast for the eyes that I don't think you really get that much of. It was very. I'm struggling to find the words. It's just an incredible movie. Again, I didn't like it that much when it first started, but it kept like drawing me in as a viewer. The more it kept going on, the ending was. It's still up in the air, and I think really says something about. Speciesism, human nature, etc. It's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, in general, this was actually kind of a coin toss for me. I would have gone for either Spielberg or Ang Lee. Actually, I remember when I first saw the Oscars for this, obviously I was thinking, I really didn't know who was going to win. I made my best guess, even at the time, Steven Spielberg. But then when they announced Ang Lee, it was a surprise for me. But then I started thinking about it more, and I realized, yeah, it's a good choice. I do agree with you. That would have been another choice. I probably could have changed it any time, but I don't know. At this point, I kind of say Steven Spielberg because I think it was a point in his career where to take a biopic like that, where I'm like, again, he's an absolute genius in filmmaking. I think it would be nice to see him win 3 best directing Oscars in his career. I just think it would be interesting, kind of like the John Ford at the time or something. I just think that would be perfect for him. So
I was tempted to go with Lincoln because I do like that movie a lot. I don't know. I just think Life of Pi kind of just appealed to me a little more. It was a sexier pick for me.
But my write-in. Ben Affleck.
On the side note, I would have also loved to see Tarantino get nominated for Django Unchained. If that had happened, I might have chosen Tarantino. I'll just throw it out there. Moving right along to 2013, the winner this year was Alfonso Cuarón for Gravity, which, if I'm not mistaken, was the first Latino director to ever win Best Director. Another cool accomplishment there. By doing so, he beat Alexander Payne for Nebraska, David O. Russell for American Hustle, Martin Scorsese for The Wolf of Wall Street, and Steve McQueen for 12 Years a Slave. Let's see who we would pick. Okay, wow, you just stuck with Cuarón for Gravity. Now, something I actually forgot to mention this with 2006, but if I were to give Alfonso Cuarón a Best Directing award, it definitely would have been for Children of Men. I think that's a crime he didn't get nominated. But I was tempted to stick with Cuarón on Gravity because it's a technologically innovative film. It's a technologically groundbreaking film. What he revolutionized with special effects, green screen, camera work, like a lot of what he does in there is really amazing that he was able to accomplish that. But it never does so in a way that feels pretentious. Like, it has a very unique style, but never like draws attention to itself, But I would have gone actually with Scorsese on this one for The Wolf of Wall Street, because Scorsese. This is another one I forgot to mention when I was listing my favorite Scorsese films earlier. The Wolf of Wall Street. That definitely ranks out there because it's about gluttony, it's about greed, it's about corruption. These are things that are, especially in our modern society, I think, with our economy and the way money is working in the world nowadays. I think it's a very prominent film, and I think it really helped kind of detail the gluttony, the greed, and corruption that kind of led towards things.
It's set in the 1990s too, but it's interesting of how it still fits even today's standards, like you said, which I think is very
Scorsese is more well known for implementing his religious undertones into his films.
Right. Yep.
But The Wolf of Wall Street kind of does that a little bit, but never to the point where it's actually something you can pick up on. Because he does it in a much more societal way, in a much more like heightened reality type of way. That I think is really fantastic. It's sort of like Goodfellas, but the difference with The Wolf of Wall Street for me is that the Wolf of Wall Street had a much stronger main lead character. And God bless Ray Liotta. I like him as an actor, and I like Henry Hill in Goodfellas, but if you look at the character ensemble of that film, he's easily one of the weakest characters in there. Not because he's a bad character, just because he doesn't shine as much. But for me, I think this might be my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio performance, to be honest, and I think Scorsese just directed the shit out of this. The fact that he can make a film like that at 71 years old, as if he's a 25-year-old, oh my god.
You wouldn't expect. The movie is raunchy, but raunchy in a way where it helps, go into the themes that we were talking about, greed and so on and so forth, and lust and all these things. It's just when you watch those movies, you might see it's a Scorsese film because of the technical style and stuff, but and it's close to Goodfellas, but for those who are not familiar, you wouldn't know it was him because it has such a lowbrow tone to a lot of things where you don't think he would go that far in lowbrowness and stuff. Where Goodfellas isn't lowbrow, but it does have. But that's because it's a gangster flick, the way they talk and stuff. So that's what makes it kind of uniquely different. I still stuck to Gravity for Alfonso Cuarón for this one, and so I just kind of think, like you said, the technical approach of the film was just absolutely amazing. At the same time, I'm almost thinking, well, the story in some ways does feel a little hollow and stuff, but and his directing is the one thing I think that still makes it work as a good film.
A lot of great picks. There's almost instances where I wish you could just give it to co-winners. But oh well.
Or have a tie.
Have a tie.
There's been ties before, like the late 1960s, the girl from Funny Girl and Kathryn Hepburn. It was one of those rare times.
All right, moving along to 2014. The winner this year was Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, his first Best Director win out of 2 back-to-back years. We'll get to the second one in a moment. But this year he won for Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. But other nominations that year were Bennett Miller for Foxcatcher, Morton Tilden for The Imitation Game, Richard Linklater for Boyhood, and Wes Anderson for The Grand Budapest Hotel. Let's see who we would have picked. Okay, we're in agreement on this one. Inarritu for Birdman. I know a lot of, the go-to a lot of people will go to is Richard Linklater for Boyhood. It's not that it's a bad movie, but I do feel Richard Linklater, while it's an ambitious project, not just for the fact that he did it over 12 years, but the fact that he kept it consistent as he did over 12 years, that's a remarkable achievement. I just, from a quality level, I don't think Boyhood really goes as many directions that I think it should have gone. It doesn't touch upon adolescence in a way that's as deep or as rooted as I would have wanted it to be.
I agree.
But Inarritu for Birdman, I was shocked, but I was ecstatically happy when he won. Because Birdman, it's sort of like what I mentioned earlier with like David Lynch for Mulholland Drive, or Steven Soderbergh for Traffic, or actually even Inarritu, like I mentioned earlier, for Babel. A film like Birdman is so impossibly hard to execute and do it correctly that, I mean, there's so many wrong directions a film like that can take, but the fact that Inarritu could combine as much as he did with that film, the criticisms of art, criticisms of film, criticisms of critics, the morals he has to say about father roles, finding one's place in existence, just alcoholism, reality versus fiction. I mean, so many things that he does like that. And the way he combines it with this metaphorical imagery and the style and technique that he puts behind this film is just unbelievable to me. It's a technically amazing film. It's an actor's film. It's a metaphorical film. It's really everything I want out of the film.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, I remember that year. I don't think I really knew what was going to win. I think I just picked Richard Linklater, but he wasn't really my desired choice. I just picked him because I thought, he's probably going to win this and stuff. But he was never my personal choice. I wanted to win.
That was the first year I entered our Oscar contest over at the movie theater. I competed with Andrew. Shout out to Andrew. And it's actually funny. Like, me and him, we were like neck and neck throughout the night. And I think it was this category that actually gave me the leverage over him to where I eventually won the night.
I think you said you went for the actor for The Theory of Everything, but you say he went for Michael Keaton.
He went for Michael Keaton. That's right.
I went for Michael Keaton also that year too. I thought he might win, but I was like, oh no. So that was the first time you participated? Oh, nice. That
was the first time I participated at our Oscar pool over at our movie theater where we work. But I was very happy with Inarritu winning. And speaking of Inarritu, the next year, 2015, Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu wins again. The first time that had happened since 1942, I want to say.
What's his name? The director of All About Eve, too. He was something like that.
Something about that. But Inarritu won again for The Revenant, but other nominees that year were Adam McKay for The Big Short, George Miller for Mad Max, Fury Road, Lenny Abrahamson for Room, not The Room.
Yeah.
God, that was weird if The Room got nominated.
And that came out in 2003.
Fucking Tommy Wiseau. Could you imagine what his acceptance speech would have been like if he had won?
Yeah. And again, your response would be like, I'm giving the Academy so much hell.
Oh, fuck. Oh my god, I almost want to see that happen now. And I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Lenny Abrahamson for Room, Tom McCarthy for Spotlight. Let's see who we would have picked.
Okay.
Oh wow, okay. So you were stuck with Inarritu on this one for The Revenant.
Yeah.
That actually surprised me because you said that you're not a big fan of The Revenant.
Not so much, but I still would have chosen him of what the direction he went for the film and stuff. And honestly, this was almost kind of a coin toss because I actually like George Miller too, and I love Mad Max Fury Road. But how should I explain it? I don't know. I just think it's a great film, but I don't know if how should I explain it? I mean, I think George Miller did a good job directing it, but I don't know if it provided so much stuff new like he did in the original trilogy, necessarily. Which, he wasn't nominated for the original trilogy either. It almost kind of seems weird that, he would nominated for this one and stuff. So, in general, but again, it's a kind of a coin toss. I would have liked him to win because I love the movie in general. But I kind of went with this because I just think it's interesting what he did for The Revenant, where the visual style, and just it was just new and different for me. I think it's not a movie I love, but I would have chosen him as a director for that.
Yeah, I almost stuck with Inarritu because again, The Revenant is certainly a film that's much harder to make than most movies. I mean, every movie's hard to make, but The Revenant especially just raised the bar. But I went with George Miller for Mad Max Fury Road because. Okay, I'm a big action movie guy. I've seen almost every action movie known to man. And For a film to leave me in awe and make my jaw drop, and okay, things like that, like what I just said right there, where like a cliche things a lot of critics say, where they're like, oh, the movie sent chills down my spine, or it made my jaw drop, or like they say it elicited some kind of physical response out of them.
Yeah.
I almost never say stuff like that because it's not true. I wouldn't say something if it was true. So when I say that film made my jaw drop, I mean it. That movie legitimately did that. To just leave me with such a sense of awe and wonder. Like, how the hell did they make that film?
Yeah.
That's a feeling I don't feel with movies almost ever anymore. It evoked that sort of inner childhood with me, where I just fell in love with the mystery surrounding like how they made the film. Yeah. But more than that, as an adult, I am just overwhelmed with the technique and the talent that went into making that. It's not like James Cameron for Avatar, green screen CGI. It's incredibly obvious to know how they did that. Matt Fury Road, I mean, there's some CGI in there, but for the most part, they were out in that Australian desert actually shooting all that, real stunts, real cars, a lot of people sacrificing their life, and to be able to pull all that together and still tell such a deeply emotional, rooted story with that still, to this day, I mean, we're almost 3 years removed from when that film came out, and I still think that has so much to say for women and society and gender roles and things like that. I think it's a brilliant film with modern mythology to back up all the insane kick-ass action it has. Alright, finally, last up in 2016, the winner was Damien Chazelle for La La Land. Now, this year is significant because this is the first time Terry and I actually competed in the Oscar ballot.
Yep. And I beat you.
You beat me. You beat me. It was the best actor that got me.
Yeah.
I went with Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
You went with Casey Affleck.
That's right.
Yep. So yeah, but anyway, Damien Chazelle won, and God, throughout this list, I'm talking about a lot of historical things. Damien Chazelle becomes the youngest Best Director winner of all time with La La Land last year, and his fellow nominees were Barry Jenkins for Moonlight, Denis Villeneuve for Arrival, Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea, and Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge. Let's see where our opinions lie on this one. And, okay, yeah, I thought that's where we would go. Yep. Damien Chazelle won. I got the prediction right, but it was also what I wanted to see win because I was tempted to go with Barry Jenkins for Moonlight on this, which for the record, I am absolutely happy Moonlight won Best Picture. I do not. I mean, the circumstances were controversial to say the least, but Moonlight itself actually winning was phenomenal, and I love that. But as far as direction go, I still would have stuck with Damien Chazelle because Moonlight is brilliant, and it's subtle, and it's beautiful, and it's just a perfect movie to me. But I think the reason why I would have given it to La La Land is because there is just such technique, and such talent, and such diversity with that film and the way it's made. And to try and take that kind of vision, that broad vision that Damien Chazelle had for this film, and to make it work and make it as universally admirable as he did, that's why I would have given it to La La Land.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Absolutely agree. And like you said, he was the youngest director to win that in that category, which hasn't happened since the 1930s or something. Something like that. Yeah, it was a really long time, and he's like I think he's the first person of our generation to win Best Director too. Yeah. So I think that's quite an achievement. And overall, La La Land is fantastic. I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
Yeah, so
I will not be listening to any of this La La Land is overrated BS that's been circulating ever since its award season. No. La La Land is a great film.
That's right.
I'm so sick of hearing that.
Same here.
But La La Land, again, to be able to incorporate passion, love, romance, musical. When's the last time we've seen a contemporary modern musical that was actually original? It wasn't like based on a play
Yes.
or a stage adaptation or
Yes.
a soundtrack or anything like that. It was all fresh from his mind, yes, of course, it borrows elements from classic musicals.
Yeah.
But that's the brilliance of it to me. It evokes
nostalgia.
It evokes nostalgia. It evokes a classic, simpler time period, but updates it, modernizes it, and for me, it was it's everything I love about watching the movies. Like, if movies are meant to be a magical escapism, I think La La Land does that in spades.
Yeah.
While still having a fair amount of reality to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a sucker for films that make you feel good, too. Yeah. And I love Emma Stone.
I love Emma Stone.
She's awesome, too. Yeah. And overall, visually, the movie's beautiful.
Yeah, it checks every box for me. So, that is our history of the best directors and who we would have chosen for all those given years. Now, what are we going to expect out of this year? Well, I can already see Guillermo del Toro being nominated for Shape of Water because he already won the Golden Globe.
Yep.
I can see Matthew McConaughey for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Christopher Nolan for
Dunkirk.
Yeah,
that's another one.
He's my choice. I really want him to win Best
I would
Director.
love to see him.
Yeah,
that's actually one I would not mind. And maybe as a way of making it up, admittedly, but it would be deserved. I would love to see Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird as well.
Yeah.
A lot of great choices we got going this year, and I would also love to see Denis Villeneuve for Blade Runner, but I'm almost thinking that's not going to happen now.
I don't think so, but I hope it wins a technical category for cinematography or visual effects.
Jesus Christ! Give Roger Deakins an award already.
He's had I don't know how many times he's been nominated. Maybe he's the most nominated director of photography in history, or one of them, but hasn't won a single one. This has to be his year.
Yeah. So, that's our history of the Academy Awards, at least as far as Best Director goes. And who knows, maybe we'll do this with other categories in the future. Or
absolutely.
Maybe we'll go back even further in time than just the 21st century.
Yeah. Don't forget to mention, comment to his section below and say what you would have chosen in each of these categories.
Absolutely. I would love to hear other people's opinions. Just please don't be jerks about it.
Yeah. Be nice about it. Everybody is entitled to their opinions, but I'm very curious to hear what a lot of you would have chosen. So yeah.
So I think that does it for this video. We've gone just about long enough. All right. So Terry, where can people find you?
What?
Where can people find you? Like YouTube, social media, anything?
Well, I originally intended to YouTube, but I decided to stick to my Facebook stuff. If you want, check out my Facebook page for Terry Lundy Film Reviews. I usually do written reviews. If you want to check it out, check out my top 10 favorite films of per year or per genre, or my individual film reviews and stuff. He'll probably put down on the comment.
I'll put it down in the description below. And thank you for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. And I will see you in the future.
Stay cool, bird boy.